me.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, all you steampunks out there and generally strange, weird, crazy circus people. My favorite bands on today. This is the Girl George and the Dragons radio show. I'm Girl George, and we have Melody from the Hobo Goblin, or the Hobo Goblins. Hello, Melody. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on.
So, are you guys playing around anywhere?
We do. We have a few shows coming up, and at the end of this month, you can find out all about our show dates at Gobbelins.Girl. We have a website there. We have just a few more shows, though, and then we're taking a long break.
So you play Gutbucket, right? Or what do you call it? Wash tub bass?
I call it a Gutbucket, but yes, it could be a wash tub bass or a Gutbucket.
You got the most amazing one I ever seen. Somebody made it for you because it looks really good.
He didn't make it for me. It was an older gentleman named Walter Traverso who made it, and it's actually, the bucket itself is actually older than me, and he was playing it. He was playing it, 45, 50 years ago, and had it in his garage. And a friend of mine came by it through someone else. He gave it to someone else, and then someone else gave it to her because they knew I wanted to play it, and I actually got to play it for him at the San Francisco Accordion Club, and he was very excited and didn't realize that because there had been an intermediary between him and the receiver of the bucket, there had been a couple of people. He didn't realize that it was his until halfway through the show, and I thanked him for having made it, and it was just to see his face light up was really, really spectacular.
Yeah, it's beautiful. How long have you been with that band?
About 6 or 7 years.
Wow, that's a long time. How long has the band been going?
I think the band has been going about 10 years, but it existed. I mean, it existed a long time before I was in it, so I think about 10 years.
10
Maybe
years.
12, actually, at this point.
That's great. That's great. And you fix accordions too?
Yes, I work in the Accordion Apocalypse Repair Shop in downtown San Francisco and do all kinds of accordion repairs, from making the plastic, like if you dropped your accordion down the stairs, I could take your accordion and make it look like nothing ever happened to it, and actually probably better than before it dropped down the stairs. Or, notes aren't sounding, there's a lot of things that can go wrong with accordions. They're held together with wax, and every once in a while someone will bring one in that they left in the hot car for too long. And because they're all the reeds are held together with wax, it makes a big mess on the inside of the accordion, and none of the reeds are where they're supposed to be. So lots of opportunities to repair with accordions. People are always dropping them, or...
So they have events there? They have events there, and they teach accordion too there?
We used to have events when we had a larger space. We've moved to a more central downtown location. We do have a few events. Once a month we have music night. That's the third Friday of every month, where people come with their various instruments and play music together. Everybody sort of teaches each other songs, and it's really nice. And that happens the third Friday of every month. And then we will have a stage this year at the Katati Accordion Festival, which is coming up, I think, at the end of August, around the 17th or 18th, in Katati, California. And we'll actually have a stage there, and so we'll be bringing a lot of our friends' bands, bands that we enjoy. We'll be bringing them up to Katati this year for the festival.
Well, that's great. Are Are you going to go to the hemp festival in Colorado?
I had not. No, probably not. I'm really busy with accordion repair at the moment. There's really a lot of accordions that are broken in the world. People are constantly finding.
Do you teach how to play washtub bass too?
I don't. I have taught one person how to play washtub bass. Someone that was coming in for an accordion lesson wanted to learn washtub bass, or her son wanted to learn washtub bass. So I taught him. And you had asked about lessons. We also have a beginning accordion lesson, group lesson on Saturdays at 4:00, where you can just show up and we will teach you how to play a song on the accordion before you leave, which is pretty exciting.
So is there a web page or something that they can find you?
Yes.
The accordion place?
Yes, www.accordion, ACCORDION, Apocalypse, that's all one word, and Apocalypse is spelled APOCLYPSE.com. And there's all of our events are listed there and resources for accordion care, and we have accordions for sale, and I don't know. I really enjoy my job. I've had some really awesome experiences. This one guy came in and his grandmother had an accordion in Germany, and she had the misfortune to be Jewish, and was being taken into a concentration camp. And one of the guards, she had her accordion, and one of the guards was going to take her accordion, and she started crying and said, "No, please don't take my accordion." And then he said, "Well, you can keep your accordion, but you have to play me if you play me a song and I like it." And so she played him a song, and he let her keep the accordion. And then her grandson brought the accordion into the shop, and I got to almost fully restore it so that it looked just like it did when she played it, and it played and everything else. And he's going to take that back to Germany, and she's actually going to get to play it again after not having been able to play it for years and years and years and years and years. But there's lots of stories like that. People are always bringing in. Accordions are very sentimental, and lots of times they're handed down through families. People will, the kids in the family will, "Oh, what's this thing?" And then they'll bring it in, and if it was stored properly, they've, got a treasure.
When my daughter's seeing your picture, she says, "Oh, I know them. They're steampunk. Are you steampunk?"
We play at a lot of steampunk events.
She said she saw you at Maker's Fair. She said she saw you at Maker's Fair.
We were at the Maker's Fair. We were at the Maker's Fair, and we play at a lot of steampunk events. We play at some Burning Man event. We play for a lot of different kinds of people. Seem to enjoy us, which is good. We have a very eclectic crowd that shows up to our shows, all kinds of different people, which I really like.
Well, you guys dress up so cool, and you have so many instruments. You got tubas and accordions and fiddles and banjos and wash tubs and washboards and flutes and guitars. And my goodness, how many people were in that band?
There have been as many as 14 playing on stage at one time. But because the band has been around for so long, people have come and gone, so they're, the people that are in the band now, only 2 of them were in the band when it originally started. So when we all get together, because we all know the same songs, although we play them a little bit differently because we've gone our separate ways and worked on the songs, which is fun to find the middle ground between, those 2 places. But yeah, when we get together, it's really fun because we know all the same songs and we can sing. And there's a lot of the original members from the Hobo Goblins went on to have a band in Austin, Texas called That Damn Band. Dylan Blackthorne was playing the accordion in the Hobo Goblins a long time ago, and that's his band. And he has a freak show, one of the only freak shows in the entire country that still exists with actual freaks. And they travel around, and the freaks, I guess, love it. They're not shunted to the side and treated like they're odd. They're actually held up and, look how awesome they are. They can do this crazy thing, Sometimes it's something that they can do, or sometimes it's just, a physical oddity.
Some guy named Rose. Something Rose has a freak show like that I've seen.
Jim Rose?
Yeah, Jim Rose. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Is that the same person or is that a different one?
No, I think it's a different person. It's called the one that I'm talking about is called the 999 Eyes Traveling Freak Show.
Oh, cool. I'd love to see that.
And so that's part of the people that were in the Hobo Goblins before. So so we've grown and expanded our reach and domination of the earth.
I'd love to join your band. If I was ever in a band, that's the band I'd want to be in. I got the honor of playing with you once at the Long Hall when you guys came in to play. That was so much fun.
We played there a couple of times with you, I think.
Yeah. You're my kind of band. Everybody sings along and screams and yells and dances. That's what I like. I don't like people just sitting there quietly and politely applauding afterwards. I want everybody involved.
Yes, it's the best kind of show when that happens, for sure.
Yes. And when you guys came in, that place would be so packed they were hanging from the chandeliers.
Yes, it got very warm. It almost started raining inside from all of the humidity.
It was great.
That people were giving out.
And everyone's singing and screaming and dancing. You guys are fantastic.
We're going to put together an East Coast tour soon.
Oh, great.
Coming up in October, we're going to venture out to the East Coast for the first time. And that should be really exciting. We also have a new album coming out called Oddities and Entities, and that will be on our Bandcamp site, which is Hobo Goblins, which is all of our different various websites. We all, for some reason, at some point in time, we decided to spell them all differently.
Yeah, I noticed that.
So it can be really fun. That particular one is Hobo Goblins, HOBOGOBBELINS.bandcamp.com, and you can get our last two albums on there, and I'm sure we'll probably have our new one up there, or possibly someplace else if, we're shopping it around to all the record labels right now or see who snatches us up. So
does everybody write songs in the group?
No, I don't write. I don't really write songs. This is my first musical experience has been playing in this band. I used to come to the shows and I would juggle. And at some point, someone pulled me aside and said, we don't really need a juggler to come to all of the shows, but we do need a bass player. And 2 weeks later, I recorded the first album on the website that I just mentioned, which was really fun to record an album 2 weeks after you put. You don't really know that. You don't know what bad sounds like yet, But anyway, I don't think I did. I think they did some magic in the studio, and it's not as horrible as I remember it. But I've gotten so much more sophisticated in my use of the bucket these days that it. From that time, I've gotten better. That happens over the course of time.
You guys are like the circus coming in town.
Yes, it's really fun to travel around people when we're on tour. We have a bus that we've been touring in. It's a 40-foot Bluebird bus that I turned into a motorhome, and we travel around in that we've done a couple of West Coast tours and then a Southwestern tour. And those are really fun. Everywhere we go, people seem to want to get on the bus and come with us, and it just seems if only life could just be on the road, that would almost be bliss. But I do like fixing accordions, and it would be a bad environment for that.
You should paint up the bus like King Kesey's bus. This is the 50th anniversary of the bus, The one that went on that trip to New York back in 1964 was King Kesey.
Yes.
And then Magic Pranksters or the Merry Pranksters.
Yes,
I had his son on my show a couple weeks ago, and they were talking about it.
Oh, cool.
So you should paint up your bus like that.
They remind me kind of a modern, or what we have now, the Yes Men. The Yes Men?
They're very much like you. They were just, You're more
the Yes
musical,
Men?
but they were a band. They did have a band.
No.
And
Do you,
all kinds of stuff.
Do you know the Yes Men?
No.
It's a group of people. They will do something. They will do odd things, like say they set up a website for GATT, which is what the WTO used to be called GATT. And so they set up a GATT website, and they had somebody from a government invite them to send somebody from the United States there to talk about economic policy. And so they pretended to be this person, and they went there and they talked to people, and they do things like they get up in front of people, and they have candles on everyone's table, and then they go around and they light all the various candles, and then they start talking to them about how you can turn people when they die. You can use them for energy, and you can turn them into candles. And someone donated their body so that you could all see what these candles would be like, and that's on each of your tables, or fast or buying votes. They'll go before them. We should just stop voting. Who needs voting? Let's just set up a thing where we'll buy your votes. We'll buy the people's votes. We can cut out the advertising, the media, and everybody, and we can just put the money directly toward the vote and just buy it right off of the consumer. And had a room full of politicians and people, oh yeah, that sounds like a really good idea, and then went to lunch with a couple of them and they sort of egg them on, and are really surprised when they actually go there. So at lunch on one occasion, one of them started talking about Hitler and said, Hitler, he, I didn't like his social policy, but everything else, his business sense was really on. The trains ran on time and everything. If we could get somebody like Hitler here in the to be ruling the United States, that would be great. And that's one of the conspirators saying that, and the other people are like, yeah, I agree. The people who are there for the conference, they and so he just gets video of they get video of these people doing doing and saying these really ridiculous things. It's really entertaining, but they're kind of the modern day merry pranksters. They just go and infiltrate places and then get people to see exactly how absurd they are.
Yeah,
some of my heroes.
They got a magazine called The Onion that kind of distorts the news a bit too. They put it up on YouTube all the time. Facebook, as if it's a real thing, and people fall for it all the time, and it's just so absurd.
Yes, I really enjoy when I see headlines. From the first one I ever saw, I sent it to my dad right away. It said something about we admitted weapons of mass destruction and we were going to pull out of Iraq or something like that. I don't know. Sent it to my dad, and he for a second believed it. Because it was before The Onion, when The Onion first came out, some of the headlines, people would start posting them as if they were really stories. And now everybody
still
checks
do.
to make
They
sure.
still do, and they swear up and down that it's true.
Yes. Well, people will be people.
So where are you from? Originally, you.
I'm from North Carolina originally. I at some point met some traveling kids, and they said, you remind us a lot of people that we spend time with in Ashland, Oregon. And they said, oh, really? There's people like me? And I immediately left. And I landed in Ashland, Oregon.
They're coming to get you.
I went to Ashland, Oregon, and it was beautiful. And I got into town, and I thought it was a little tiny town, and I started asking around for my traveling friends who said that they lived there. And it wasn't so small that people knew them, but some of the people that I was asking were these two young girls, and they said that they were going to the park to make turn necklaces into flowers, and I was like, oh, that's so adorable. That was like my first experience of the West Coast, being in a kind of a more West Coast.
What year was that?
A long time ago. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm really bad.
Exactly
I'm really bad with time.
So what kind of work did your father do?
The late 90s. My dad?
In the 90s. What kind of work did your father do?
He did a variety of things. He usually tried to own his own business. He did everything from selling log homes to copiers to, he just was always trying to, start his own business and be successful in his own, with varying degrees of success.
What about your mother?
My mother was a paralegal in a law firm for most of the time. But I was small. I guess when I was a little tiny, she wasn't. But once she started working, she did a lot of legal research. She would do land surveys and go and look for the deeds in the courthouse all the time. That's what my mom did. And I left North Carolina, I guess, around when I was 21, 22, sometime like that, maybe 23. Oh, yes, it must have been before 23 because I had a really wonderful experience driving down Interstate 5, reading the Illuminatus trilogy as I passed by a sign that said Interstate 5, and on the radio they were talking about these people who had all died. They killed themselves, a cult called the Cult of the Rosy Cross, which the book that I was reading was all about Rosicrucians, and my brain pretty much just melted.
That's the Heaven's Gate thing where all those guys killed themselves?
Yeah, it was one of, well, maybe it was that one. It seemed like that was a fad for a while. People just,
Heaven's Gate, they all thought the Martians were going to come up and take them to outer space or something, and they all killed themselves at once.
You think they waited until they saw the ship?
I don't know.
I would wait till I saw the ship. I don't. Oh yeah, you're right. The Martians. I mean, how does that information come to a person so concretely that they go and off themselves? It just seems odd. I don't really understand that sort of thing, I guess.
Did you have brothers and sisters?
I had a brother and a sister.
Older or younger?
I'm the oldest, and I had a younger brother, and then we both had a younger sister.
Oh, that's cool. So how did you get along in school? Did you like school or you hate school?
Did I what?
Did you like school or did you hate school?
School?
School.
I was indifferent to school.
You didn't care one way or the other?
I sat in class and I didn't really pay attention, and I could get C's. I could just take the test and get C's. And I sat in class and read books and drew pictures. I hated it. I cut school all the time and then quit when I was 16. So I'm not. Well, once I discovered that I could cut school. Well, I didn't actually just cut school. I didn't just not show up. I snatched a book of quarter passes and would write myself a quarter pass to go to the office. And then I had study hall the last period, and I had journalism the period after that. And you could check out of school to go and sell ads for the journalism class. And so I would go and I would check myself out of the office via the journalism class at 12, around 12 noon. Yeah. I've been there since 8, and then I would leave, and I worked in a movie theater, and I would go to the movie theater, and I would watch movies and eat popcorn with my friends.
So when did you leave home? How old were you when you left home?
23, I think.
Oh, so you were grown before you left home.
Yes. Yes.
I left at 16.
I went to college. Yeah, no,
wow.
I didn't get it. I didn't get it. I didn't graduate from college. I had never really left I didn't really want to go to college. It wasn't something that I had thought was a thing that I wanted to do. But my parents seemed to really want me to go and tried to scare me into it, and went and showed me poor people's homes and said, look what happens if you don't get a college education. And I don't know, they were sitting on their porch and smiling and having a good time. It didn't seem so bad to me. Weighed in the scheme of things, it just wasn't very convincing. But I enjoyed some classes. I basically went to college, and you're supposed to get a guidance counselor. And instead of doing that, I just took classes that I was interested in. With varying degrees of, sometimes I was disappointed. I'd take a class on psychology, and the professor would spend 10 minutes talking about Carl Jung and then he would say, "Oh, we're done with that now. We talk about Sigmund Freud." And I raised my hand and said, "Why can't we talk about Carl Jung more?" And he said, "Well, we're training you to be a psychologist, and nobody is going to take you seriously if you talk about Carl Jung." And so the educational, I just realized that people didn't see it. The people I was around, at least, didn't seem to be there to get education or learn things, which seemed to be the point in going to me. They had really good textbooks. I read a history book cover to cover. You should try it sometime. The story becomes...
No, I read The Outline of History by H.G. Wells. That was a great book. Somebody gave me that back when I was about 21. I just loved it. But school itself, I didn't like too much. My home and my church and everything is in the bar on the stage with my musician crazy friends. That's about all I can relate to, really.
It's more fun.
Yeah. So do you have any stories of on the road or any strange people, funny stories that you know?
Well, when I originally crossed the country, I decided that I had a car, and I worked and saved up some money, and I decided that to have everything be completely random, and it so that I could better facilitate me going where I needed to be, which somehow was going to magically appear out of the chaos. That I would pick up hitchhikers and take them wherever they wanted to go, and that would be my direction, my compass, sort of. That didn't work out really well. I picked up one hitchhiker, and he was wearing. It was in the middle of the summer. He's an older gentleman, and he's wearing a long black trench coat and black leather gloves. And someone comes up to me and tells me that he needs a ride. They're dropping him off there or something, and tells me that he needs a ride. And I talked to him and barely was conversant. He was just enough to say, I will ride in your car. And I wasn't that thrilled with him being there. But he just didn't take off his leather gloves. It really bothered me. He just wouldn't. So I said, "I'm going to make a sandwich. Do you want a sandwich?" And he said, "Yes, I would like a sandwich." So I made him a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And he didn't take off his leather gloves to eat it. And at that point, I pulled into a motel. I was really nice. I had some money saved up, so I was feeling a little tiny bit generous. And I pulled into a motel, and I rented a motel and said, "I'm going to go and see the sights of the whatever little town I was in, someplace in Nevada. I'm going to go see the sights of the town. I will be back in a little while," and put the guy in the room, and then drove off as fast as I could. I had another time where when I initially crossed the country, I wanted it to be a very spiritual experience. And so I was constantly looking for signs, like the hitchhiker would have been a sign. But late at night, I heard a radio station, and it was coming that I really liked, and it was coming out of some little town. I think it was in Wisconsin. It was really someplace in the middle of Oklahoma. It was in Oklahoma, and it's a radio station. So I start heading toward Tulsa. Is Tulsa in Oklahoma? It was Tulsa. Was the name. Anyway, so I started heading toward there, and on the way, in the early morning, I was driving all night. The sun comes up, and I find a lake, and the lake, it has this sort of dam that looks like a Aztec pyramid, kind of, like really old moss-covered stones. It just looks really ancient. So I pulled off there, and I thought, after a while, I was there, and I thought I heard a drumbeat in the distance, and so I was going to go and find this drumbeat in the distance. And so I start walking toward it and realize it's too far away, and I get in my car and I just start driving down this little road, and I drive and I drive and I drive, and I've got all kinds of visions in my head. There's going to be some sort of morning, Native American Indian sort of ceremony, and it's going to be magical, and so I get to where I was going, and it's not a drum circle; it's a bunch of oil wells going. And
thank you for calling, and I'd like to say thank you for everyone for coming to see the show, and we'll catch you on the flip side. This is the Girl George Dragon Show, and see you later, alligator.
Everybody's crazy but me. Everybody's nutty as can be. street are the gross casualty. Now everybody's crazy but me. Everybody's nutty as can be. Raping the oceans with derricks for oil, lusting for money, divvy the spoils, build bigger bombs, store 'em all up. More bombs, they won't take our stuff. Push the wrong button, we're all history now. Everybody's crazy but me. Everybody's nutty as can be. Swirling out, stark raving mad, grabbing, gouging, slashing the fed. Once they want a piece and scream to be free. Now everybody's crazy but me. Everybody's nutty as can be. Everybody's crazy but me. Everybody's nutty as can be. Sell your soul for what you think you need. Don't call it